So recently we have three new phones come out: the Realme X7, the Mi 10i and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. All these phones come with top of the line specifications like 120Hz AMOLED, fast processor, 108 megapixel camera, etc, etc. So if I'm looking to buy a smartphone around 20,000, these are the three prime options. So the question that has to be asked is, which is the best phone to buy under 20,000 INR? The Mi 10i, the Realme X7 or the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max? Well, the short answer to that is the Mi 10i, but it's complicated. Watch the video. This is Pradeep from TechWiser.com and this is the comparison between Mi 10i, Realme X7 and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. The name, if I say it 10 times, you'll get mid-roll ads. Anyways, we upload tech videos thrice a week, so if you want to stay wiser, make sure you subscribe to TechWiser and hit the bell icon as well. Let's go. First up, let's talk about the build quality of the phone. And straight up, I like the Realme X7. So the Realme X7 has a smaller 6.4-inch display, whereas the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max have a bigger 6.7-inch display. The X7 is the lightest phone at around 184 grams, followed by 10 Pro Max at 194 grams, and the heaviest is Mi 10i at 214 grams. Now, I'm a fan of small devices. There are a couple of reasons for it. Foremost, you can hold the device and use it easily one-handed. Second, I run a lot and I carry my phone with a small waist strap. Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is a huge phone and I had problems running with it. The Realme X7 on the other hand is pretty handy. Another thing, Realme X7 has a polycarbonate back. It's really hard to tell, but it's a polycarbonate back. Whereas the rest have frosted glass. The Mi 10i provides Corning Gorilla Glass on the back, whereas the 10 Pro Max doesn't have any glass protection at the back. Also, the Realme X7 doesn't have a headphone jack. This helped Realme to keep the X7 slim at around 8mm. 10 Pro Max is also the same width, but the camera bump is huge. And if you lay the device flat and type, it has the most wobble. Although Redmi Note 10 Pro Max comes with a good case which takes care of the camera bump, but when you buy a case from outside the market, make sure it has a raised camera lip just like the case you get in the box. Also, Realme X7 is the only one that comes with an in-display fingerprint sensor. Now, it's fast, but not as fast as the side-mounted fingerprint sensor on the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. And unpopular opinion, I don't like in-display fingerprint sensors because you cannot unlock your phone while you remove it from the pocket. And Realme X7 has this really good plastic bag, almost glass. In terms of build, I like the X7 more than the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. And talking about glass, let's move to the displays. Both of them have a good display. The Realme X7 has a 60Hz AMOLED display, whereas the Mi 10i has a 120Hz LCD screen. And the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max has a 120Hz AMOLED display. Now, I'm going to say I will always pick up an AMOLED over an LCD. I like the Realme's 60Hz AMOLED display. It has good colors and contrast, but the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max blows everyone out. This is the 120Hz AMOLED display and it is HDR10 supported. It can go up to 1200 nits. Hands down, it's the best looking display in this segment. I mean, this is going to be a benchmark for mid-range phones to beat. So it's the only phone I know of in this segment that supports HDR10. You can watch HDR10 on Netflix, Prime Video and Disney Plus Hotstar. So those dark movie scenes you see in movies will look better on the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. And to add to that, the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max also has stereo speakers. They weren't that great, but surely loud enough to watch a movie with someone. And one more thing which everyone on YouTube kind of missed, the Realme X7 has a 188Hz touch sampling rate. So this basically means this is a faster 60Hz display than usual 60Hz AMOLED display. Another small thing I noticed is the Realme X7 and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max have an always-on display. Strangely, the always-on display on Redmi Note 10 Pro Max stays on only for 10 seconds and you can't even change that in settings. Weird, but battery saving tactics. The Mi 10i has a notification LED, but AMOLED over LCD any day. So the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max has the best display. The Realme X7 is better than the Mi 10i. So far the X7 seems to be decent, but here's where things change. And talking about that, let's move to the cameras. Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max come with a quad camera setup and the 108 megapixel camera. On the other hand, Realme X7 has 3 cameras. It's nice that Realme has actually ditched the depth camera. I mean, come on, we don't need depth cameras. I mean, companies do portrait mode with a single selfie camera, but you need a depth camera at the back. Come on. Anyways, under good lighting conditions, the photos on the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max look similar. On the other hand, the X7 photos looked a bit saturated, which has been the trend through the Realme cameras. At times, the colors on the X7 are way off. Like for this instance, I clicked a normal 16 megapixel photo and then a 64 megapixel photo with the Realme X7, and as you can see, the 64 megapixel photo is way saturated and just soft. I had to turn on that AI option on Realme X7, and please don't turn it on, it just messes the photo. Another surprising thing is the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max comes with a 5 megapixel tele macro lens, which is really good. You can get closer to the subject and it provides a good bokeh all around the subject. This macro camera is really good. You are straight up clicking wallpapers for your phone. Now, the wide angle camera was average on all the devices. However, I noticed that the 10 Pro Max and Mi 10i had a better dynamic range and true to life colors. Even with the selfies, the Xiaomi phones were better. The X7 had weird skin tones, kind of yellowish and pale. Same is the story with the videos as well. The colors are better and close to real life on both Xiaomi phones. To end this camera comparison, the 108 megapixel camera and 64 megapixel camera. See, the 108 megapixel camera is definitely better, but you know it, I know it. If you have to swipe 2 to 3 times to access the special 64 megapixel or 108 megapixel mode, they don't want you to use it, and it's not even worth it. So if I had to pick, I'll take the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max camera any day. Only suggestion to me would be please keep all the photos mode in a single place. Like if I have to access the 108 megapixel camera, I have to swipe right and reach there. Now for ultra macro mode, I have to click on this hamburger menu and enable macro camera. Like all the camera modes and all are split between these two interfaces, and I have a hard time finding all of them. And it's not only with the camera. The Mi 10i performs better in terms of performance as well. The Mi 10i comes with the latest Snapdragon 750G, which is a gaming chipset. Redmi Note 10 Pro Max has a year-old 732G, which is again not bad considering the price. And the Realme X7 comes with a brand new MediaTek Dimensity 800U. In terms of spec, the MediaTek Dimensity 800U seems to be the fastest. But practically, here is something interesting. Now, unlike every other video, I'm not going to pull up benchmarks because you know. Every now and then, companies and mobile manufacturers have been caught cheating in benchmarks, so let's not go down that road. So to see the performance, I did a 2 GB file render test on the 3 devices on Adobe Clip. After multiple attempts, the 750G on the Mi 10i turned out to be the fastest. Now, this can be due to the slightly faster UFS 2.2 storage on Mi 10i, so leave that. Let's move to gaming. So the biggest problem so far with MediaTek chipset is gaming support. If you pull up COD, it can only run medium graphics, whereas the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max can run very high graphics. Now I was curious and I wanted to check on other games. So recently I've started playing a bit of Genshin Impact. Nice game, you guys should also try. It runs on low settings on Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max and lowest settings on Realme X7. Even the gameplay was a bit choppy on X7 compared to the other phones. I guess the games are not yet optimized for the MediaTek chipsets, so that's one thing to notice if you game a lot. Having said that, PUBG ran similarly on all the 3 phones. All in all, both chips are equally powerful, but most game developers still don't optimize for MediaTek chipset. So if it's gaming, I'll go with Mi 10i due to Snapdragon 750G. And not just gaming, the same trend continues with network as well. See, both X7 and Mi 10i are 5G. Redmi Note 10 Pro is not 5G. Now Mi 10i supports 2 5G bands and Realme X7 supports 4 5G bands. But you know, this 5G and all doesn't matter as of now. I did an explainer of 5G, link here, go watch it after this video. Realme X7 as of now doesn't support carrier aggregation, So carrier aggregation is enabled on Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. Now in real life, when you watch YouTube videos or Netflix, this thing won't affect. But when you are in low signal areas or playing internet games like PUBG, carrier aggregation always helps to get a better network and better speed. Now the only problem I found with Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is the infamous MIUI. And talking about that, let's talk about the software on both the devices. Mi 10i comes with MIUI 12 based on Android 10. The Realme X7 has Realme UI which is based on Android 10 again. Only the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max comes with Android 11 based on MIUI 12. Now the rest of the phones should have had Android 11 by now, but the update situation in Android is pretty bad as of now. Now in MIUI, I still see a couple of bugs, like here, my home screen, you can see a couple of icons, and now I restart my phone. You see home settings come up. It's weird. And the daily swipe issues when you have to go to the app overview menu, at times it just doesn't register the swipe gesture. On Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, if you see the side bezels are a bit thick. Now when you receive notification, the padding on the notification is a bit off. So you see this part, it's almost getting cut. So these could be easily fixed by an OTA update. I hope Xiaomi does it. On the other hand, Realme UI is pretty clean. I got no ads or pop-up notification. I did have a couple of notifications from the Hey Tap app and Realme browser app, but they can be easily muted. And finally, all three devices come with a good enough battery. The Mi 10i has a 4820 mAh battery, the Realme X7 has a smaller 4310 mAh battery, and the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max has a huge 5020 mAh battery. All these phones come with fast charge. The Realme X7 charges crazy fast with 55-watt charging. Both the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max come with 33-watt fast charging. The Realme X7 charges from 0 to 100 in about 55 minutes, whereas the Mi 10i and Redmi Note 10 Pro Max take 70 minutes and 80 minutes respectively. On a day-to-day usage, I got about 6 to 7 hours of screen on time on all the devices. The battery easily lasts for a day on all these three devices. So finally, which one should you buy? If you want a gaming phone, for sure, go with the Mi 10i. Any extreme use case, video recording, vlogging, or camera centric, Mi 10i is a better deal. And if you want a casual phone, more cleaner Android experience with no heavy usage, you can get the Realme X7. Fits well in the hand and it's a lightweight, good phone. If you want to buy a Redmi Note 10 Pro Max, I would recommend getting the Redmi Note 10 Pro instead, which is 3000 cheaper and has the same exact specs, except the 108 megapixel sensor. Also, if you can get an ICICI discount of 1500 rupees, that will bring down the price of Redmi Note 10 Pro Max to 17,500 from 19,000. If you can get that ICICI discount, then only get the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. With that said, it's Prateek signing off. Like the video if you have watched till here. Subscribe to TechWiser. See you soon.